Hi friends, it's Jenny. I am back with another SEESTER takeover, and this has been a really good thing for me because I am working through some of the supplies and boxes that I've gotten that I haven't prioritized making from because I was like a couple of months behind. Like I recently made several things from the April bargain bead box, and while we're waiting for the delivery of the companion bundle for the June bargain bead box, I have yet to really make anything from the May bargain bead box, which is over on this side. And so this is kind of fun. I get to get into things that I hadn't done before. But first, before I get into this too much, if you hadn't seen either of the two previous videos, Becky's fine. She's okay. She just has a lot on. And so I am stepping in and just making some extra content for her. So it may not be as up to date as what you usually see from Becky herself because I'm playing catch up. But I think it's still fun, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one who still has projects to make from previous content or previous supply boxes. So I guess where I want to start is just talking about why I love bargain bead box as much as I do. It's great value for money, as Becky had pointed out. So when I was deciding on which subscription, singular, one subscription I was going to get, this was the one that she recommended, hands down. But the other reason why I love it is because even though some of the metal components are not safe for me to use because I have metal allergies, primarily a nickel allergy, they identify everything. So there are other subscriptions out there that when they come in, if there are metal components, I just have to basically toss all of them out. Well, I don't toss them out. I put them in a little goodie bag and set it aside for Becky. So Becky's going to have like way more findings than she actually needs because I give her what I am unable to use. But when I get something from bargain bead box, they always on the packing list and even on the packaging will identify something as being nickel free or hypoallergenic. Both of those are I consider safe for me. And so I'll open a box and there'll sometimes be a situation where, like we did in May, this is the original. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit more so it's not, I had it zoomed out because they were side by side. But this one, I had a lot of space in my box after I opened it because I couldn't use either of the pendants, I thought. I'll get back to that in a minute. And so they take up a decent amount of space. I couldn't use most of the metal components. In fact, the only metal components I could use from the original May box were these flower links, the chain, and these small gold spacers. There's a number up if you wanted to see. These were the only things that were nickel-free or allergy safe for me. And so I was a little bit disappointed. I love Lauren. I love what she curates. She also has metal allergies, and so she works really hard to have those options for us. But I'll fill the box with other things. I had ordered separately some green beads that I felt went really well with the bicones that came in the original. And so I put those in. I got these little flower beads, which I need to redo before I use them because the pin that they're on, I don't have the metal information on, but it's like a glass flower, an acrylic bead, and a tiny, faux pearl. I can just put this on a new pin and be able to use it. So I put those in there. I've got these little plums, similar situation with the metal on them. So that's why my box might look a little bit different than yours because I put in things that I felt went with it. Like this was the Edwardian bicone mix that I just thought was really sweet. The one that was very Bridgerton themed. And so I expanded it in that way. For this reason, and it's kind of a long story to get to the point, I usually won't make from the original box until I also get the companion bundle. That's one reason why I haven't made anything from the June box yet either, because my companion bundle is being delivered on Saturday. Hopefully early. My post office has been doing better about delivering earlier than expected since I started adding the additional 4 digits to my zip code. So a 9-digit zip code is helping. but I'll do this because in this one, even though I have the chain from the first one I can use, this one also had some articulated flower links that were nickel free. These bright gold spacer beads, which I think are adorable. These rose links, which I got some more of when they did the box extras. And also when they did the box extras, I found out that this pendant, which was in the original bargain bead box and was in the companion bundle, on the packing list for the bargain bead box, it didn't say that it was nickel free or otherwise safe for me to use. So I very, very, very sadly set this aside for my sister. But between the bargain bead box coming out and the extras getting listed, as well as this pendant being included in the companion bundle, Lauren and her team received the testing documentation that certified these as nickel-free brass. So when they listed the extras, I have the two from the box and the companion. And then I'm like, well, these are adorable, and wouldn't they make great earrings as well? And my mom, who has the same metal allergy I do, a nickel sensitive one, also loved these delicate little guys. I'm like, I'm gonna get more. So I did. I have 6 of these, enough to make 2 sets of jewelry, a necklace and earring set for both me and my mom. But I don't want to make the same set twice. And so setting these aside because they're for today. I decided that I didn't want to make the same set twice. And so one of my sets is going to be probably a beaded chain necklace, which is very similar to the tutorial that Beki did with this same pendant from when she received the first box. And so that one is beaded chain. I might do a few things differently, but it's going to be pretty similar to something that's already here on this channel. The other way that I wanted to make a set using these beautiful little charms is to string one. So yes, this is another strung design during Jenny's SEESTER takeover, but that's probably a good thing because if I made a beaded chain necklace with you on camera, it would probably take 3 hours because I would need to make all the links and all of that bit. I haven't done any of that prep work. So for now, if you guys really want me to also record when I make the beaded chain set, say so in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll just do that on my own, and I'm totally fine with that. But today I want to string a necklace and make a set of sweet earrings with these pendants that I was so thrilled when I found out that they were nickel free. I'm like, just buy all of them. And so I'm going to be drawing beads from both of these boxes to make this design. I do want to use some of these bright gold flower spacers. I want something super bright. One of the things that I loved about the companion bundle is how much brighter some of the beads were, and that made me excited. I don't know if I'll use this many, but I have more. I need to grab more. But one of the reasons that I loved it is because it had some of these lighter tones. Like, I absolutely adore these pink crackle beads. So I want to use those. Pull out the soft pink from the pendant by using these crackle. They're almost like, they're like candy, but also like cotton candy or bubble gum. They're just such a sweet pink, and I love that. Oh, and this little teapot, that's another story. Because these beads were perfect. They had these little teapot earring sets that they did for a Mother's Day promotion. If you ordered that weekend, they sent this set. And I already made some earrings for both me and my mom. And this was the 5th teapot because there were sets of 5 caps to make teapots. And so I have this set aside. I'm probably going to turn it into a necklace at some point. So that's why that's hanging out in that box. But I need to move it out of the way so I can get to these little green drops. I don't think I'll use the porcelain beads on this one because I do feel like this needs the green, but I like these they're little curved flower drops. They came in the companion bundle. So they've got this curve to them. Let me get my go. So this is the back side of it. That's the front side of it. And I'm trying to see if I can tilt it at an angle. That's the wrong finger to use because my lighting. Tilt it at an angle where you can see the curve. There, now you can see the curve. So I think that's really fun. So I'm gonna have those because you know me, I love a dangle, but I'm gonna string these directly on instead of making a dangle from them, because what I am going to make into dangles, so I've got my little greens from the pendant, I've got my really sweet soft pinks. I am also going to use these. This will surprise almost none of you, that I saw bellflowers and I decided I wanted to make dangles from them. And these pull out some of the darker pinks. I don't want this necklace to be very dark, so I am avoiding like these dark crackle beads. I don't really want to use them on this design. But I am going to, and I'm sorry about the rattling noise, I want to show you the boxes all together instead of with me having already pulled everything out. And these guys are hanging out in the same spot with some of the amethysts that I had already separated out with a different design idea. Oh, I don't need this many because I'm only going to make maybe, I was pulling all those out. Probably might use one for earrings. No, because this is what's going to be the main focal of the earrings. I'm probably only going to do 4 dangles, 2 on each side of the necklace, because there's going to be these that will be basically also dangling in between. These little green dudes. They call them sea green. And they are they're a little on the tealy side. But in my mind, sea green is a different color. So that's how that is. Speaking of sea green, from the original box, they do have these bicones. I'll probably use them in part of the design as well. And whoop. Oh, I just had bicones fly into at least 2 different thingy-doos. Now I think, because I also want to pull in some of I'm going to have the bright gold with those flowers, but I also really love these soft yellows. And I think that they go really well with this soft pink. The soft yellows of these little crystal, I think these are rondelles. Yeah, they look like rondelles. These little crystal rondelles that have kind of a swirl pattern to them. It's not a consistent yellow. It looks like buttered popcorn. So use those to really lighten things up. But that's, I think, what I want to use for today's stringing. And I haven't decided specifically, like I haven't pre-planned a specific order. I'm going to make those couple of dangles, and then I think that's going to be good. So let me move the boxes out of the way and the components I'm not actively working with up top. I'll draw them down as I'm using them. I have spare dangles in case I decide, or spare bellflowers in case I decide to make extra dangles. But I think this is going to be what I want it to be. So here we are. This is a little bit of what I'm starting with. I will start with making these guys into dangles, and I'm just gonna use some of these 24 gauge pins that I've been using. Just straightening out some of the pins. They are very pliable, so they'll often come bent, but it's fine. They straighten out very easily, enough to use. And I think I was only going to do 4, so set these guys aside. And I'm going to go ahead and put just one of these little bicones on the tip of each of those. So this is going to be my dangle. It's going to be a little bellflower. I'm using a little ball pin, so it's got a little tiny gold dot, and then that sea green bicone. And I didn't go over my tools, but they are the same ones that I grabbed yesterday, except I didn't grab. I forgot that I was making dangles, so I didn't grab my needle nose pliers. I just got the stuff to open and close jump rings. So I am using the Casual Comfort plier set, these guys. And when it comes time to crimp, I'm going to be using my magical crimper. And I am going to be stringing today on the pink tourmaline color of Softlex. I feel like that's probably a pretty good match for what I've got. I might change my mind if it shows through weird, but I think it'll be just fine for this. I might go for a more neutral color if I'm not liking that, because it's kind of a dusty pink instead of a bright pink, and I am going a little bit more bright with my bead selections today. So I'm just taking my pin, and I'm using the tip of my needle nose pliers to bend over, and then I rotate through, and this is going to leave me a little bit of room to wrap. I don't want a whole lot of a wrap. And then turn that around, swing it again, so I can swing the wire around. Oh, that was a messy one. I mean, I make messy wraps, but that swung wide. That was going to be a big loop. Someone had made a suggestion because I was having trouble tucking the end of my wire, and I'll clean that up in just a minute. They had suggested maybe using the magical crimper, and I said, oh, that would be a good one to try it, and I should use my spare magical crimper to try it. I haven't tried it yet, and my spare magical crimper is in another room, so I'm not doing it on this video. But I did pay attention to that suggestion, and you know, it doesn't hurt to try. I'm not sure that it will work because one of the reasons why, like, the part of the success of using the magical crimper is using the right kind of crimping material. And I don't know that it would really round it out the same way it would with a good quality crimp tube. So not sure, but hey, I'm willing to try it. I'm going to do a little bit brighter. Yeah, that one has a little bit more of the, because it is a swirl, these bellflowers. I'm doing one that has a little bit more pink to it. That one was a little more on the crystal side of the swirl. So just making a few dangles, because would it even be a Jenny necklace if I didn't have dangles? I have made some necklaces that didn't have dangles. I have, I swear. It's just, it is one of those go-to things, is making with dangles, because I think they're fun. And as my mother, who is very fond of words, just as I am, has pointed out to me, that the dangles make a necklace look more lacy, which is the origin of that word, is lace for your neck. So it's a neck lace. And so I also am fond of that, because of that reminder. Like Beki's made some gorgeous stuff that is even more lacy. I don't remember what the style is called, but it, like the ones where she has several layers and creates a drapey, lacy pattern. And those, I think it would be really fun to try to make something like that sometime, but not yet. So I am going to go ahead and snip off my tiny bit of extra wire on these guys. And then I'll need to tuck. It will. So yeah, I'm trying to think of a fun story while I'm doing a very boring thing. I am going to be moving on to stringing soon, so maybe I don't need to get started on a story, because I get distracted and I make mistakes. Like I I did make an oops. I made the first oops with that bracelet, the first bracelet yesterday. And then when I looked at it again after the video, I saw that I didn't back up far enough to finish correcting it. And I had an extra section of seed beads, which is, normally that would bother me if it was just by itself, but when it's stacked with all the other bracelets in that really fun pile of beads, you don't notice. So I might leave it instead of restringing it, because I would have to restring the whole thing. And I mean, it's only a few inches, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm fixing it or not, but that's what happens when you get chatty. So I'm just finding that little bit where I snipped. This is the bit where I have to hold the loop. Ah. It's where I struggle with these. I definitely need more practice. But that's something that I will do as I make more, right, guys? That's kind of the whole point. That's a really hard thing for me. So I guess that is a story. We've alluded a little bit before to, like, the gifted child syndrome. When you're told that you're just naturally good at things as a child, and you're praised for that talent that you don't really have to work hard at. And I always excelled with, as much as I say, you might not believe it, but I really excelled, especially with like English literature and writing and, as well as mathematics and history. I've always just really retained information really well. So I was identified pretty young, about 3rd grade, as being a gifted child. And that was encouraged, and I had some fantastic experiences. I do not begrudge that, because I had some amazing experiences that shaped who I am and how I saw the world. There was a program in Arizona that was called PACE that was for that, and one day a week we would go and load up in a bus and go to a school where we would be with another group of kids, and we would do like really cool projects. Like at one point we created civilizations, made artifacts for them, buried them in the playground, and then went and dug up someone else's artifacts and had to like archaeologically like figure out what we could learn about this civilization from this, this dig. It's like, so it was really cool things like that. And I 100% loved it. But one of the effects of that is a lot of things, like I said, came naturally to me. So if something doesn't come naturally to me, or it takes practice, I pull back, I hesitate, I give up, because I like to be good at things. I don't like to be bad at things until I'm good at them. And so that's been something I have spent a lot of time correcting in myself. I'm not blaming the programs that I'm in. It was just something that it wasn't addressed. They didn't talk to us about that kind of thing. Like, okay, this thing is easy for you, but let's work on something that's hard for you. That wasn't something I dealt with when I was in school. And so, yeah, it was just one of those weird things. So yeah, a 90s gifted kid syndrome is what I've got. Not clinically diagnosed, but you all know what I'm talking about if you're, of that generation. Just the way that my brain was nurtured at that age. And so, like, I look at this and I'm like, I should stop making wrapped links because, or wrapped loops, because they are such an ugly mess. Like that is what is going through my head right now. And that negative self-talk doesn't help anybody. It's not focusing there. That focuses a little bit better. That negative self-talk doesn't help anybody. It certainly doesn't help me. And so I have to get out of my head and say, it's okay for them to be ugly because I am being bad at it so that I can continue to do it and eventually be good at it. So I don't know if you guys needed to hear that. It's one of those things I need to remind myself. And so it's okay. It's okay to be bad at things until you're good at them. It's okay to be bad at things for a really long time until you're good at them. But it's just one of those things like, okay, well, I don't like to do this, so I'm just giving up. That has happened so much in my life that it's ridiculous. Anyway, that was a tangent because that's what I do on this channel. I go off on tangents. All right, I'm gonna get out some beading wire. I'm gonna go ahead and string this directly on the spool because I haven't planned out an exact length, so I don't know for sure how much. I mean, I know the size of my neck, but it's still easier for me to start at the middle with the pendant and then string on and kind of play with the pattern as I go so that I can decide what I like. Now, right next to a pendant on a ring like this, I like to put some smaller beads. So I'll probably do these bicones on either side of it because they'll kind of fit nicely with that loop. And then I'll start to build out size-wise from there. So I'm gonna grab one of these pretty yellow, almost a jonquil color, a little bit brighter, bicones. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do one of these gold roses. Yeah, maybe. And then I'm gonna go ahead and see how this lays, these little leaf drops. Yeah, I do like that. I might just put a rose on either side of each of those. That might be how I use the roses. Like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. And then I need to start getting my chunky guys in there. So I've got my chunky guy here. And then I'm gonna get another of my little sea green bicones. And I'm gonna use them on either side of a drop. So I wasn't sure if I wanted 1 or 2 dangles on each side because I knew I'd be using the leaves, but this is kind of what I've got going on with it so far. I feel like I'm missing something on, like it's so hard for me to do just kind of a random fun pattern because my brain is like, but no, you need to balance this. So I'm putting on another one of these little yellow guys before I do the pink and the drops. But this almost feels like it's too long before that first dangle if I'm gonna do 2 on each side. Because it'll probably be that much again. See, I'm gonna kind of mirror what I've got going on. I'm gonna string a little bit. If I back it up because I don't like things, then I will remove the big pink beads for now and use them more up the sides of the necklace. Oh, nope, that's the wrong. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If it just spreads it out too much, like, because I don't need a dangle at the back of my neck. And I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be, but it'll be definitely more towards the side of my neck by the time I get back around to it with this current pattern. And yes, I did just pick that up and hold it up to my neck to see where it would fit. And yeah, I'm fine with this color for stringing. I think it works out just fine. I did wonder if it'd be a little bit too on the dusty pink side of things, but it's not. It is not. And I think I'm on screen. I didn't check to make sure I was stringing on screen, but I am. I started moving a little bit off to the side instead of being under. Okay, so that's dangle to dangle. And that does, if I wear this as, you know, close to my collarbone, which is, you know, where both Becky and I kind of prefer our necklaces to be. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna keep going with this because I want this to be light and fun. And so I want these light, they're large, but I want these light pink beads to be part of the front of the pattern. So I don't want to remove them just because I want to scoop my dangles closer. But I still want to, like I said, use these little leaf drops. So yeah, it's going to be a thing. I think it's pretty, all of it together, so. But this way I've got 3 leaf drops on each side and 2 flower drops on each side. And I forgot to turn my mat back over before I started turning all this. So I don't have the little pockets at the top. It's just the flat side of the mat. I don't have little pockets at the top or the place to measure. So I'm just gonna have to pick this up and hold it up to me fairly often. And that's okay, that's okay. So here's where the pattern with the drops stops, which is fine. So I've just finished with the gold there. And I think what I'm gonna do to finish this length, because I do love the feel of these crackle glass, is I'm probably gonna do a little bit of, maybe a little bit of color blocking. Maybe I'll do like 5 of them, because I have to make sure I have enough. Yes. What I should have done is got more of these when they did more. This wouldn't have been in box extras because it was one of the companion bundle things, but I'm not sure if they're still available. I should check. But I think if I do 3, maybe, let me see how long that is. And then finish up with some of the yellow rondelles, possibly even some of the bicones toward the back of the neck. So that kind of like smooths out the pattern a little bit, but I need the length. But also, you know what? I am going to grab, see, this is why I have both my boxes in front of me, because if I have other ideas, I can still grab from them. So these are some of the beads that I added to the original, and because they hit in the same way as that, like that sea green. And so I'm going to use some of them to extend this pattern. So maybe what I'll do, and they've got like this kind of golden shimmer thing on part of it. So it's mostly shows the green, but it also has that kind of glimmery gold finish on it, coating. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just, because I do want to keep incorporating all of these colors because they're lovely. And if yeah, see that, instead of having it continues the flow without actually repeating the pattern, if that makes sense. If I go ahead and use some of these guys to do this. And then I will be sure to have plenty of the crackle beads in case I want to use some when I finish up my earrings. Ah, yes, I think that's fun. Look at how fun all those colors are. I kind of love that. Okay, so I just held it up to kind of get an idea where I am with it. So I think if I do one more repeat, and I am going to have a clasp, and I am going to have jump rings to attach that. So I have some flexibility in placement, but this is more satisfying to me than like color blocking. Color blocking could have been fine, but this, I don't know, it's a little bit more playful by continuing to have that as part of the design. So yeah, I think that's 1/2. Perfect. Yes, that's 1/2. Let me get some crimp tubes out, and I will crimp half of this. I apologize if this is a long video for just, you know, one necklace and earring set, but now that I've figured it out, the other half of the necklace will go more quickly. But we've also been having a chat, and as someone commented recently, you know, one of the reasons you watch Beki is because she also tells stories and has a bit of a chat when she makes things. So I know that many of you don't mind a little bit longer video where we're doing these things. So I am going to go ahead and describe this because Beki does in all of hers, and I want to continue that because new people are finding her channel every day. And so this is the magical crimper. It's meant to be used on 0.018 to 0.019 wire. The soft flex medium is perfect for that. These are also soft flex crimp tubes, which are a good quality too. And what you want to do, there's this little concavity in the crimper. That's where you're going to make your little ball of crimp. And so you want to center your tube in that concavity. You can kind of see on the edge here that it's there, it's centered. And you're just going to give it a little squish. You don't have to press hard. This isn't a brute strength thing. Just give it a little squish, and it pinches down the corners and makes a little ravioli. And then you want to take that and make it so that it is standing up and down. So like long ways up and down, so that your next squeeze is 90 degrees from where you just were. And it starts the process of turning it into a ball. And you just keep rotating it around. At this point, the different degrees don't really matter. If you get a little bit longer section, then, you know, make sure that you crimp in the opposite way. And just a few crimps later, you will have a nice little ball of crimp. If you have some rough edges, you can just kind of keep crimping, and that's fine too. I'm actually okay. I was just demonstrating. And then I'm gonna snip off. I know there's a lot of people who tuck it back in, but I have a hard time with that sometimes, so I guess I could try that on this one. I don't like to do it on the finishing crimp because I feel like I already don't have very much room over there. But let me see if these rondelles will accommodate having that go back through. And it looks like they will. Instead of snipping it off, because it is true, even with flush cutters, if you snip it off, it can still be a little bit pokey. So putting it back through, if possible, is fine. I usually just snip it off. But I think, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. They all have a wide enough hole to accommodate it and not make it go funky. But yeah, that's the first half of my necklace, and I love it. So I'm just gonna get some more of the beads that I need, because I scooped out a few of these green rondelles that I added at the end, but I need to make sure I've got just a few more to make sure that I can finish that. Everything else, I've got enough on my thing. So now that I know what half my necklace is, I can go ahead and measure my one side against this, and then give myself a couple extra inches so that I can, you know, have room to make my loop and crimp on the other side. And yeah, I'm just gonna string this on the other direction and just mirror my pattern, as it were. The only thing that I have to pay attention to when I'm doing it this way is if I pick up and move the necklace, I need to make sure that my little leafy dangle dudes are facing the right way, so that it's curved toward my chest instead of curved out, because that's how I started on this side. That's the only thing that is specific. Everything else, it doesn't matter which direction it is. So just a quick little thing. I am really liking this. I wasn't sure if it was going to be too much, like, especially because I don't actually wear just a whole lot of gold. And so these are very bright spacers, but I think they fit. They fit with what I'm making here. And they're really pretty. So I'm glad that I get to use them. And I hope that you enjoy this pattern, this design, because that is one of the things with this pendant. It is a small, delicate pendant. And so that's one of the reasons why when Beki made her necklace with it, she chose to do a delicate chain necklace with it, which is, you know, that's the other reason why I'm doing that. So I wanted to decide on a pattern that wouldn't overwhelm the pendant. And I'm hoping that this is hitting the right vibe with that. We'll see when I've got it all put together, where it's not, because it can be easy if you use a lot of large beads. That's why I'm only using these large beads, especially near the pendant, and why I waited so long to use large beads on either side of the pendant. That's at least 1.5 inches. Well, it's about 1 inch worth of beads before you actually hit the bead, but because of the size of the bead, about 1.5 inches really of visual space between the large bead and the pendant. So I just didn't want to dwarf it. It's a soft, delicate thing that I want to celebrate, because I was so excited, because it's so, like, anybody who knows me, like long time Jenny style and everything. Oh, I made a mistake. I forgot one of my yellow beads and I just dropped a bicone. That's okay, I'll find it later, because if I get up, I will disturb my dog, who is blessedly sleeping beside me. No, I was right. I hadn't made a mistake. I was thinking I was on the wrong side of that pink bead. No, I was fine. Second guessing myself. Anyway, Sophie is very blessedly just snoozing away beside me on her blanket, and so that's kind of nice. In fact, I can say her name right now because she's losing her hearing, and so she's not like, oh, Mom, you want me? Because I said her name. No, she's just sleeping right through it. But she's being a good girl. This is a daytime recording. I think I said that, like Monday. So if you do hear her clicky claws, you know, that's what's going on. I don't have somewhere to send her off to. Also, these spacers are a 5-petal spacer. I have not been paying attention to how I'm stringing them on, because they go through one, the hole goes through one petal and between the opposite bottom 2 petals. If that bothers you and you want to string it, you know, make sure that they're all facing the right way, you can, but flowers don't face the right way in real life. So I'm just randomly putting them on. And it's okay no matter which way they are. You flowers can be the flowers you want to be. Just, you know, in case that was something that you were doing, and if it does bother you, then yes, pay attention to the direction that you string them on. I'm just grabbing and stringing in that case. So. But I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think this is coming together exactly how I wanted. It's celebrating the colors in this pendant in just the right way. So I'm excited about that. this guy. And you can see I'm using pretty liberally from both boxes, as well as some items that I added on my own, like these rondelles that are just such a great match for the color of the green. And also have that little bit of gold shimmer wash on it, so that it like pulls into the gold as well. So I'm pretty happy with how this is going. So all right, so I have gotten to the point now where I've got both dangles on both sides. So I'm double checking everything leading up to that second dangle. It's fine. And now we're going into the part of the pattern that is using more of those green rondelles with the pink beads and these gold, smaller gold rondelles, or not gold, yellow rondelles, so that we continue to have a very, very springy, and I know it's already summer, but it's a very springy pattern, and I love these colors. So for me, this is exciting to still make from this older box. It's not that old, it's just last month, but everything moves at a really fast clip. So I am hoping to show you some new things very soon. I have some exciting deliveries coming this week. As I mentioned before, I've got the companion bundle for the June box coming, which means that I will be able to start making from that. Oh, and that was one of the things, is like comparing, just knowing ahead of time what's coming in the companion bundle. For example, like with the metal allergies, I couldn't use any of the caps from the first box. Those ones were nickel free. But I love that I had that information, so I could just set aside those and then keep the things that I could use, which is actually quite a lot. But also the bead caps for the companion bundle are nickel free, so I'll be able to use those. But also I found out when I saw the listing for it that the octopus is nickel free. And I hadn't done anything yet with my octopus juice. So I'm gonna do a family of octopi set where I'm gonna use that big focal octopus pendant and use his blue little children to make some earrings. And I'm gonna make an octopus and friends set because it'll be like the octopus, but also all those charms, the seahorses, the turtles, those are all nickel free, so I can use those as well. And I'm so excited. I'm really excited to make some of those things. But in addition to the companion bundle coming this week, I also have my GGC order coming this week. And as I said on Monday, one of the things I absolutely adore about Gina's treasure bags is that, oh, this is where I need to kind of string it back through a couple of these guys. This is long enough, I probably will still need to snip, but at least it won't be like, it'll be between beads. Yeah, I'll do it through there. But all of her treasure bags, all of the metals in her treasure bags are lead, cadmium, and nickel free. And so that just makes me really excited to get and make with her stuff. And my husband was extra indulgent, and when I was showing him the two different colorways and trying to decide what I wanted to get, he's like, buy both. And I said, okay, so I did. And so I have both colors coming on Friday, and I'm super excited about that. No, I can't check because I'm recording with the device that I would check it on. I looked Monday, I think, and they were still available. If yeah, I'll post in the community. Becky opened up the community section, so check there. I will post after I do this video whether or not the treasure bag, the GGC treasure bags are still available, and provide a link as well so that you can see that. If they're not available, you can sign up at that link so that you get a notification when the next batch becomes available. And she does these every other month. And so, and we'll give you some warning that it's coming up. So I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and do this crimp. See, that got turned a little funny, so I'm not sure if it stayed centered enough to make a nice round crimp. I might have mangled a crimp, but I'm continuing to squish because it hasn't rounded out yet. I'm still getting some resistance. So this is, you know, why I say just keep going. If things got a little wonky, it's usually okay. Sometimes it's still a bit, yeah, I've got a little bit that went wrong. So I'm taking the longest section because it is not rounded, it's longer one direction, and I'm making sure that my next squish addresses that. And then I just rotate this, and what I'm doing is I'm turning the strand, mostly using the beads to get that to rotate, and I'm just opening the pliers enough to rotate, but I am opening. You don't keep it squeezed, and squeezed words. And I smoothed that back out. So even though it was a little wonky for a little while, I just kept at it. And now I have a little ball of crimp at the end of that. So now I'm going to get in here and snip my excess wire between those beads. And I'm going to use, I'm going to go ahead and use one of my go-to toggle clasps. And these do slip free every once in a while. I know that's one of the downsides of toggle clasps. I absolutely adore a magnetic clasp. But I am going to do a magnetic clasp on this because I have this adorable little patterned, here we go. I have that I can use that matches these. Yes, I'm using this magnetic clasp because it's perfect for these guys. It comes with a couple of things already attached to it that I'm taking off, just because it's, well, let me see how much space I have for clasping. Oh, plenty of space. I don't really like to use lobster claws. They shred my nail. I have kind of weak nails, so they shred my nail if I'm constantly having to open it, and they're just a little bit fiddly for me, so I don't often use them. But that's just me. I know my sister loves a good lobster clasp, so that's definitely an individual preference thing. But it comes with a loop and a lobster attached to it so that you can just add it to an existing necklace if you are not someone who makes jewelry like I am doing. And so, let's see, I want this side attached to this one. It doesn't really matter because but I want it to lay the right way. I want my flower to be up. So if I have my hair up and someone's looking at the back of my neck, I've got this adorable little flower that goes perfectly with my necklace, because it does. And then it'll be on there. It'll just be looped right on. So I'm just using those. They had jump rings that they had the loop and lobster attached to. I just removed those so that I've just got the magnetic clasp itself. And test it. I'm going to put it on first, just a second, which you can't see. I'm sorry. Yes, uh-huh. It's not quite a choker length because it's not up on my neck, but it rests just at the top of my, just above my collarbone actually. And I think that's perfect. That is exactly what I was going for this necklace. Oh, and you hear those clicky claws? That's because my dog decided to get up and move. She just decided that she's done with mom. She's so done with mom. And now I'm going to quickly, because it is pretty simple, and honestly these pendants are gorgeous on their own. There's not a whole lot that I would want to do with this, but I do need to make a little link so that it can attach to an ear wire the way I want it to. I forgot to get out gold ear wires. Just use some of the ones that Beki made me, which I still need to file, but she made me some earring sets on one of her recent visits. So I've got these little guys that I can do for ear wires, and I'm gonna get out some 20 gauge gold craft wire. I don't think I have any bright gold eye pins. I do not. So I can't do the simple option on that one. So I'm just getting out this is 20 gauge craft wire. It is Softflex. All of the Softflex craft wire is nickel free, if you were wondering. So that is something that is safe to use if you either have allergies or are making for someone with allergies, or are marketing jewelry and want to have your jewelry be accessible to those with allergies. I can't tell you how many times throughout my life that I would be at a market or a place where people are selling things that they had made, gorgeous handmade, individually designed things that I couldn't use because they couldn't tell me. They just didn't know. They didn't have the information on whether or not it was nickel free. So if you are someone who does make jewelry to sell and you have the opportunity to make at least some of your collection allergy safe, that opens doors for people that might not otherwise be able to be one of your customers. So just throwing that out there because that's been an important part of my development as someone who purchases jewelry, but also someone who can now make jewelry. I'm so excited that I can now make what I want to use, and I don't have to rely on it being available, because so much of what I could buy previously wasn't the handmade artisan, work that I might have wanted, but something that was more commercially made that had that information available, could say, yes, this is nickel free. I had a few makers that I could go to, but they weren't as, they're not as available, all the time. So I am just going to make a simple loop, because this is the 20 gauge wire. So I just got my wire on the end of that and then curled it up. And then I'm just taking the base of my thing and twisting it so that I knock that wire so that it's more of a centered loop. And I totally forgot to put beads on it first. That's something Beki always does. I'm going to start over because that's just easier. I'm just snipping that off. I think what I want to do for these, I love these beads, but I think they might overwhelm the pendants as earrings. I think I might just do something really simple, like a couple of bicones with one of the soft yellow rondelles between them to hang those from, so that it's dressed up a little bit. So we've got this, but not overwhelming, because I want these to be the star. So I'm just going to repeat that twice, get my beads on my spool, because I forgot to do that. I went straight to making loops, which is fine if you know how much wire you need. But if you're not sure, like me, I am still learning what I like. Then doing this getting the beads in position and seeing how much to cut is a lot easier. So just snipping that, and because I'm doing these as, oops, that loop doesn't quite close. There we go. Because I'm using them as a bridge, I'm trying to remember. So I need them to be parallel, like they need to be the same direction, I believe. Yes. Not perpendicular loops, parallel loops. So I just bend that over with my hand. You can use pliers if you want. And then I'm cutting so that I've got about 1 centimeter left. And then I'm making my other loop. And whoa, and then I went out of order because I'm trying to rush. I need to stop rushing because, yeah, it's a longer video, but it's just at 1 hour right now, and hopefully you guys have been having fun anyway. And you're not in a rush, and I don't need to rush and make mistakes that just take me longer to fix. My dog is wandering. I'll probably have to get up and take care of her. I did not like that loop. And it's okay to just cut off loops you don't like. Because again, I am learning. I need to be bad at something until I'm good. I am not providing perfection. I think I said that in the last video. I need to strive for better, not perfect. And I think that that's something that we all need to kind of change our way of thinking a little bit, so that it's, no, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be better, to seek out improvement. Because a tiny bit of scrap, to just accept that I didn't like it and move on and then make something better, that's worth it. That's worth a little bit of scrap. And then I just take, because I need to kind of harden these loops anyway, I give them a little squish, and then I also want to make sure that they're parallel, so you can do it this way so that you can see, like 2 pliers, that's a parallel loop. These guys, I've got this one, and then I've got this one, and it's not quite parallel, but that's okay because you just twist, and now it is. A little bit of squish from both those pliers, and now my links are ready to go and attach. And it doesn't matter which side is which, because I just did them as mirrored links. They're the same top and bottom. So I attach one to the pendant. And there's already a little jump ring on the pendant, and I am using that jump ring. I apparently didn't open it quite enough to squeeze, because I'm using fat nose to hold that, which is probably, I should be using the opposite pliers, which I'm about to switch if this doesn't go on easy. Okay. And then I need to make sure when I attach the ear wire, this is the part that does matter, go ahead and hold the loop with this one and swing open with the other. So I need to make sure that I attach the ear wire in a way that when I'm wearing it, my pendant is going to face forward. So you just make sure you look at your ear wire, how it will go in your ear, and make sure that your pendant is facing the right way, so that this would be in my ear. And I will finish the other. I should have just made one of these, done one of the links. Well, I may as well finish. It's just a matter of attaching. So this way, that's the earring. And this will just be a moment, because it's just a matter of opening these up and attaching. And then it will be, the set will be done. We can get a look at it all together. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This was fun for me to make. Like I said, I love these colors. I've been excited about these beads, but I've had to put my creative energies towards other things that were taking up headspace, like the design I did that told a story of a storm. That took a lot of headspace, and so it did. It kind of backed me up a little bit creatively. I didn't make as much during the time that I was thinking about how to accomplish that. But I'm really happy with how that one turned out. If you are in the Bead Box Bargains group, you would have seen me post a picture of it there. But this is my other earring. Okay, moving these other beads out of the way. And my tools. And bringing this down so that you can see the whole necklace and earring set that I made with these pendants that I absolutely love. And I think that that makes a very charming set. And like I said, I'm going to do the other set using the other 3 pendants differently. We'll see how that one turns out, but I'm loving this one. I hope you guys love it too. I hope you guys had fun. I hope I've heard a lot of feedback. People have been enjoying this little sister takeover I've been doing to help Beki out and help her create content. Like I said, she's still around. In fact, she's probably going to be dropping something tonight. But this does help have some additional content that she wouldn't otherwise have the capacity to make this week. So yeah, I'm happy that I get to help her. I'm happy that you guys are along for the ride. And don't forget, if you're not already a subscriber to Beki's channel, to go ahead and subscribe, hit like, ring the bell so you get the notifications, and leave a comment. We love your comments. And I look forward to next time. Bye. Happy beading.